it's just such a collaborative economy. You can't expect to do it in a bubble. So, the partnerships extend well beyond, the internal team and then the providers as well as our vendor partners. So,
welcome to Talk Tuesday, a webinar series where we explore what it takes to kickstart new projects, launch new products, and create the right conditions for team success. I'm Eric Gorman, founder of Wiley, an agency that helps teams innovate faster with less risk through our sprint workshops and training. We help teams get aligned, eliminate unproductive meetings, and make rapid progress using our interactive, repeatable sprint workshops. Skill up with our training at wearewiley.com. And now to our guest. It's now my great pleasure to introduce my special guest and friend, Lisa Tweardy, CEO and co-founder of mign. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. So you and I have known each other for several years now. We worked together, volunteered together, and spent many Friday evenings here at Camp North End with your team over drinks. So it's a real treat to have you. And I could say that you're incredibly kind, generous, and strategic thinker. And you just shared so much of your talent and mentorship with me over the years. So I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited for our audience to get to share that or be able to share that with my audience. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. As you know, you're one of my very favorites. And I have equally enjoyed all of our time and experiences together. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I am currently the CEO of mign, and we digitally design and tailor spine and sports medicine bracing for orthopedics and sports medicine. My background is in biomedical engineering, but I grew up in product design and development and also business development. And through a series of career twists and turns that led me here.
I want to talk about some of those twists and turns. So you started early in your career at Jerome Medical. What was your role? What did you do? So
I started at Jerome essentially after doing some clinical research work at Howard Hospital in Philadelphia, and I went into Jerome doing product design and development and was director of R&D, ended up being director of R&D and business development there, building out an entire product line that took a patient throughout the continuum of care for cervical spine injury from the scene of the accident all the way through rehabilitation.
And you 17 years in? Did I get that right?
I was there for a long time.
All in experience, all in wise. That's what success is. You're living, you're doing it. Okay, so after that, you spent some time in a few different places. CEO of Combat Medical, general manager for Biomet, as well as VP of orthopedics at OSER.
Yes.
So talk to us about some of the key learnings from all those wise years that you spent in some places.
Right. Just for those who are taking notes, I went from Jerome was acquired as part of an acquisition by OSER, and I was responsible for integrating 7 acquired orthopedic companies as a VP of orthopedics, and from there I was general manager of bracing at Biomet, and after that I was CEO of Combat Medical. So I have had the great pleasure of learning a lot of lessons and being able to apply those to each new step in my trajectory. I should I break it down, or how do you want to?
Sure.
So I get, at Jerome, it was great to learn the product development process, something you and I have, had the pleasure of working on together with creative teams and entrepreneurial teams. That was a great benefit to me to work directly with the clinicians as well as all of the vendors and being able to put something together that we could take to market, and that would be a real benefit to the patients and providers that we were serving. What I found is that we really had to take into account, and I learned this in my graduate degree in management and technology. I had the opportunity there at Penn to really apply the business of product design and development to building out business models and having a whole, system support the innovation. I think that what was really important there was that key learning there was about the innovation. It's really not about the product. It's about, the people, how it's used, and how we are setting up a system for it to be successful, for the patients to be successful, for the providers to be successful, and using the devices. And I think, that was one of my key learnings from that experience.
I think that absolutely colors the work that we did together. That through line carries directly, because that's the thing I always try to handle. How well we could talk more about that later, but it's so hard to those are really hard lessons to learn, I think. So the fact that you learned this early in your career really informs how you tackle different products, and mign we're going to get into as well. Okay, so coming back to that stuff, talk to us about mign. You co-founded mign. It's got a unique spelling. Break that down for us and what that means.
So mign is, we're using, again, a 100% digital process to build personalized devices. So we're moving from mass production to mass personalization. And the name mign is really a combination of mine, like this product's mine, and design. So combining those two things, we came up with mign and mign, and that is, and mign.design is our website. You can check us out. But we really were thoughtful about moving from the world of mass production, generic sizes, extra small, extra large, to mass personalization and what we're doing, but based upon patient phenotypes, patient, indications and anatomy. And we really think that, everybody deserves nice things.
Absolutely. Nice and well-functioning things. And so what are those things? What are the actual devices that you're building?
So we started out in spine. It gave us more time with additive manufacturing to, to turn around and to build out our software for personalization. And we had moved from a whole variety of spinal indications, from deformity all the way through, post-operative support, and to now we can also do a complete portfolio of upper extremity devices as well.
So give us some examples of what that would.
So whether a patient who has scoliosis who needs to correct a deformity, a patient who with a brace, a patient who's had a recent surgery or low back pain, or a kyphotic posture, for example, from hunching over too much or having a spinal deformity, we can address any number of those indications with a variety of products that are suited to each individual's needs.
And you mentioned that mass customization. How are you making that happen? What are you using to bring that to life?
So again, mass production, if you really think about it and think about just like fast fashion, where do these products come from? Where are they? And as somebody who built these products for a large part of my career, I know very well that it took us a long, long time to do the product design and development using traditional techniques. Then we would have to get it exactly right. Build, tooling that took months to make was very expensive and then very rigid and flexible in terms of the product you get out. It would take us years to develop a product, and then they would have to be made in volume. And during that time, a lot of that outsourcing went on, and products were, a lot of the manufacturing was transferred overseas to China or Mexico, where a lot of it is still made now, brought over in container ships. And for every 100 physicians, there's 425 inventory locations as a result. So I feel like we can do a lot better. And what we're doing with mass personalization is we can use either driven off of the patient's phenotype. We can have a set of products that works for that when you need it now or when you need it tailored. We have our star line for when you need it now. We have our boss line for when you need it tailored. And our icon line is for when you need something just for you, and that's fully custom, coming from a body scan or, an anatomical scan. And just like Invisalign does with your teeth, we digitally correct the anatomy prior to building the device, so that the treatment plan is built into the device when the patient receives it.
That's brilliant, yeah. And talk to us more a little bit about like the tech behind that basically enables you to do this, right?
So, I think that was it. There's not particularly an aha moment, but having the good fortune of growing up in product design and development, seeing the way things are done, and having a curious mind like you, being able to say, okay, how could we do these things better? What's really missing here? The traditional orthotic workshops are very labor intense. There's a lot of overhead, a lot of materials being used and wasted, and a lot of manual techniques. And with the advent of scan technology and how that's been getting better and better, we can take a scan of the patient's anatomy on the computer. Then with our proprietary software, we can digitally correct that anatomy, add in the feature sets we need very quickly, and make a product. So our product design and development time is literally days. What used to take us years.
It's wild.
Yeah, and so, the patient experience should also be very personalized. And so we take their body scan, take their x-rays, take their clinical data from their physicians, their inputs were digitally connected via the EMR. We take that information, design the product onto a corrected scan, have the feature sets, send it to the printer, and that's how we do a custom device.
And the printer being, of course,
the 3D printer. Yeah.
It's like magic over there. If you've ever seen their studio, all the 3D printers coming away, cranking out custom design, custom made products, braces, but you probably, when you say printer, you're just thinking those things, right? Or maybe someone like myself was thinking, old school. No, 3D printers. So talk to us a little bit more about, how mign is disrupting orthopedic care. You've kind of described it, but is there anything else to that story to add as far as how you're changing how the traditional model was done before?
Well, I think in a couple of ways, but first of all, again, just having the good fortune I've had in my career, coming up to this place, the common thread in my career has been reducing preventable harm. And so that's been something that, compels me to find better ways of doing things, as well as our team, our wonderful team. And what we can do now with the technologies is we can bring these devices right in-house alongside the physician. We can access remote patients. So we're making something that truly is, not only equitably designed, but it's inclusive, it's accessible for remote patients at any place, and it is also much more sustainable.
Yeah. So it's disrupting both in terms of
the service as well as the product.
The product too. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the access. I think access being a really big thing for patients. These days, rural patients, remote patients, patients that, if everybody's been through the healthcare system and you see how siloed it is, who wants to keep going through all these multiple appointments to get, one thing?
Well, let's keep going there. Let's say I'm a customer. I had a break in my leg. I've been through the system. You know that. Yeah, my little scooter. But so if I'm a patient, what would be my experience going through mign?
So generally you would have an orthopedic physician, a specialist, who would refer you for a specific device. And then we are working alongside of them in the clinics, or on call for them in the clinics, and we will capture the scan, and then we will, before making a custom device, we will then capture the scan, capture the information we need from the EMR, transmit it from the physician, and then we will build the device and fit it to the patient.
And you mentioned orthopedic specialists. What's the journey like for them? When and how are they interacting with mign?
So in certain clinics where they're doing complex spine, we have a body scanner actually embedded into the clinic for example, in Georgia and in New York and here in Charlotte and Atlanta. We have body scanners embedded there where they're doing a high volume of referrals for complex spinal indications. And then we can capture the image right there while the patient's there, save them a visit, save them a trip, allow them to do that right in the convenience of that same visit to their physician in their office. And then we take that information, they would come back with a custom device to get it fitted and leave with it.
Pretty slick process, much different than what I experienced, I'm sure, and what many others would have to experience. You mentioned your team. Where in the world did you find your team? How did you get such an amazing cast of people together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a major blessing. I've had the good fortune of being surrounded by a lot of really great team members in all the different steps of my career, and now it's no different at mign. We have got a small but mighty team of diverse in all the different ways. On the one hand, super creative. On the other hand, very technically savvy, and we have been able to, we're only as strong as the shoulders we're standing on, right? So having the team around that is able to align with the vision and make it happen is everything.
We've talked about the tech. Where do you see the technology heading in your industry? What are you excited about, given your position as really be kind of on the foreground of using advanced tech?
I think what is really gratifying to watch now is the support we receive not only from our clinical partners who are amazing, and they're doing the heavy lifting out there with the patients every day, but also our vendor partners, the additive manufacturing partners and our other manufacturing partners that may make a component or provide us the materials that we use in our machines, as well as the scanning technologies. It's, right now it's just such a collaborative economy. You can't expect to do it in a bubble. So, the partnerships extend well beyond, the internal team and then the providers as well as our vendor partners. So I think being able to tap into those resources for us is invaluable.
It's like your success is intertwined with all these providers of tech, and so you're kind of a real collaborative spirit. You want to help each other, essentially.
Yeah. We want to be able to use the technology for what it's meant for, and also to do it at scale, which is, I think, a key right now with the additive, being able to move it from, prototyping and small runs to scale production.
Which is where you're headed. So with that in mind, talk to me a little bit about like the vision that you have for mign. Where do you see the company going?
Well, I mean, Eric, we would love to take over the world, but one day at a time. Right now we are focused on leading, helping out top tier orthopedic and spine providers and clinics across the U.S. Obviously, we'd love to work globally, ideally with the military as well as all around the world, and be able to provide quick access to the products that the people need where they need them, because MSK or orthopedics injuries are so prevalent, and that being able to provide them where they're needed, I think, just takes a lot of the friction out of the current system.
MSK, musculoskeletal something. Okay. Trying to keep up. I can never keep up.
Sorry.
No. That's totally good. I'm always trying to keep up with the medical jargon. Talk to us a little bit about, if you can, share some of the stories of the people whose lives you've impacted you and your team.
Yes, I mean, we have some stories on our website. I invited everybody to take a look at them. There are a couple that I can shout out off the top of my head. One being one of our patients, Libby, who was a patient in New York, a scoliosis patient, and Libby had come to Dr. Launer, her excellent physician, and Liz Roush, who's her orthotist, both eminently skilled in these areas and world-renowned practitioners. Libby had multiple braces of ours as she went through her journey, and she saw the benefits she had from the device and decided that she would like to help other patients. And so she started a nonprofit called Save a Spine. And through Save a Spine, we can offer, and with Libby's and her family's help, and through Save a Spine, we can offer devices to patients who show clinical and financial need.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I know the social sector is really soft spot in your heart, mine as well. We've done some work together in the nonprofit space, so I know that's got to be a real point of pride for you and the team.
Yeah, it's great, and also to see, Olivia at such a young age having empathy and the presence to just, bring that out there. So
that's pretty
notable.
Yeah. You started mign in 2020, middle of the pandemic. Talk to us about that journey of building something from scratch.
We actually started at the end of 2019, right before the pandemic. So somebody has said, guess what's coming 3 months from now? We just scratched our heads. But we, in hindsight, we can't change the past. However, we did use the time to really focus on building our tools, and that was, I think, in the end, a blessing for us to be able to build out our processes, our software, and to utilize that with the patients that we served during that period, even though it was slow and scary. we made it through, and hopefully, the worst is behind us.
You're not one to shy away from things that are scary. I've learned about you, so that doesn't surprise me that you plowed ahead. Speaking of scary, we've done some consulting together. Mm-hmm. Working with medical technology startups. In speaking to your experience and even your practice and plus in creating mign from scratch, what do you think are some of the top challenges that founders or startups face as they're building a new product, starting a new business?
I think this is definitely a topic that you and I can speak on for a long time, but especially you've seen it all, right? But the main thing I think not only in working in product development have I learned, but also just helping entrepreneurs is, don't fall in love with the product, and make sure that you understand who it's going to benefit, how it's going to benefit them, and how that's going to be better than what's out there already. And a lot of times it's easy to fall in love with your idea, but until you actually get it out there and get it tested and fail fast, then you don't know.
Yeah, we could spend a whole conversation on that topic.
Yeah,
Quantum power. No, this is your half hour. Well, so okay, a couple more questions for you. You sent, I think it was back in 2018. This is 2017, 2018. You were working as, what was your official title here? VP of Orthopedics at Unique. You sent your whole team to the design boot camp.
Exactly.
Training me that wanted your hand back then.
And I had line at the beginning, I think. Yeah.
What did you hope to accomplish, and were you able to accomplish it through?
I think it was great that the team has all participated in the Designs for Boot Camp, and we've all enjoyed that, having worked with you personally, and just seeing how you're able to collect ideas in an equitable way. I think everybody can benefit from the exercises that we did, that you walked everybody through. I think is good for having a baseline so that we all can understand, this is how these how these exercises can work, how they can benefit us as a team, and it also, neurodiversity, right? People who are shy can be involved. People who are extroverted will not take over the stage. And you can, from using drawing skills to thinking skills, writing skills, there's a variety of techniques that can be deployed to solving problems. And I love how the boot camp gives the team a chance to try all those things out in a short period of time in an effective, and safe kind of, way.
Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Not meant to be commercial, but I was curious.
Go to boot camp.
Another question or two. What are you curious about right now? What are you exploring or learning?
Well, we are really curious about, so many things, right? Always so many things. A couple of things that lead to mind right now, because we're in it every day, is just figuring out repeatable processes for delivering to healthcare these days, with how siloed it is, with how administration has, assumed a heavier hand in decision processes without a transparency of decision processes. How do we respectfully become a part, get a seat at the table to have those conversations and to provide the help that we feel we can, or, maximize our impact on the institutions and the patients we're serving. So that's one of the main things that we are really committed to being better and better at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had some conversations with Harrison, your team, about that. Okay, final question. How can people learn more about mign and follow the work that you and your team are doing?
Oh, thanks. Please come and visit us. Visit Wiley, visit mign. Two for here at Camp North End. We are located next to McFly, so I think we've got the best block in town. And come and visit our digital factory online. We're at mign.design, or wherever you get your social media, mign, MIGN, and follow and share, like.
All the things.
Yeah, engage, all the things.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll have to have you come back. There's lots more questions that I didn't get to, so thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Jake Knapp, and I'm the creator of the Design Sprint process. I'm the author of this book, Sprints, and I am here at the Wiley offices in Charlotte, North Carolina. This right here, if you were thinking about maybe doing a design sprint with Wiley, this is where you would be, at this table, probably, unless you do it at your office, which is still an option, but right here in this space with a whiteboard, with a bunch of paper and pens. Basically, they're going to help you think through a big problem, get it started, and get a solution tested really rapidly. That's the whole idea with a design sprint. I'd highly recommend, if you're thinking about it, that you do give Wiley a chance to your project. I've worked with these folks a couple times, and they always exceed my expectations. I always do things a little bit better than I could have imagined ahead of time. They're also really nice. So don't tell them I told you that. I try to, keep it cool, but they're super nice people. Anyway, best of luck to you, and try Sprint.